Hey, what is up, guys? It's Guildspire here, and welcome back to Champions of the Fog. Today is round 1 of Division 1, and we have our third streamed match. Technically, we have our fourth one today as well, but that's going to be offline. Our third stream match today, this time between Deadheads versus Milkshake Mafia, and I am joined today by All for Domo. How you doing today, Domo?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be back in Season 1.
Hey, very happy to have you back.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what happens. I personally know the people on Deadheads, and Temp Babylicious, aka Cade, he is a stinking cracked killer. I am excited to see what he brings out. What are the maps? You want to remind everyone what the maps are?
Yeah, so for the maps today, we're looking at starting off with Gas Heaven, followed by Cold Tower. For those who might be a little bit confused about Cold Tower, it was previously going to be Ironworks Misery, but it's brought to my attention that Ironworks is having a desync issue, which could be less than ideal since the desync happened around a pretty common window vault.
Oh, I see what's happening. I haven't personally experienced that, but I have heard about it, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it was brought to my attention. I was like, okay, you know, probably better safe than sorry to just simply remove the map from rotation, replace it with Cold Tower, which is well known enough. I'm sure everyone and their grandmother who plays comp has played that map a million times over, so Cold Tower is a safe bet there.
I'm pretty sure I could walk that in my sleep, man. I played that thing so much in comp.
You and me both, that is for sure. But with that being said, we do have everyone in lobby, and I do believe Shelby is currently going over builds. So let's jump into the lobby as we speak. And we do have Temp Babylicious playing Killer today, and we have Milkshake Mafia playing Survivor first. So we've seen a lot of close matches today. For those who have not watched all the matches, all of them will be going up to Champions of the Fog's YouTube channel, so definitely make sure to check those out. But we had Four Duets and Locker versus EMA. Really close match, actually, with EMA coming up on top. We had Legacy versus We Can't Loop. Once again, really close match. 12 points going into trial number 4, with Legacy coming up on top. And now, in tandem, and we can only unfortunately stream one match, we have Deadheads versus Milkshake Mafia and Travesty versus We Overslept.
I haven't seen We Overslept in some time. That'd been a fun one to watch as well, but honestly, it had to be a coin flip because these are both interesting games.
You hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what I did. I went, well, I'd have no way of really picking without any bias, so let's flip a coin, and it landed on heads, so we have Deadheads versus Milkshake Mafia here today.
Leave it up to chance for, like, Two-Face in here or something.
Trust me, you'd be not surprised how many times I've run the Coin Flipper web app to figure out who kills first, who is going to get streamed, so on and so forth. I'm like, okay, I'm done with games of chance, please, thank you.
Oh, man. Well, maybe now we've got everything set. We don't need to do any more coin flips as much in the future, unless there's, again, another matchup.
There are a few doubleheaders due to scheduling conflicts. Specifically, we have actually 2 teams, both Milkshake Mafia and I believe We Can't Loop, or is maybe We Overslept, who basically can only play at the 10 to 12 spot. So they're always going to be pretty close together there, to say the least.
So they're going to have a lot of 50-50s.
Exactly. So we have a few here on the Sunday division, a few conflicts over on the Saturday division, which we'll have going this coming Saturday. So very excited about that as well. Where we have, in total for this season, we have 18 teams going on right now.
That's pretty good. I actually forgot that it was that many teams, but it's solid to see so many competitors coming in and ready to play.
Yeah, you say that until you become an enforcer of the fog or a moderator.
Yeah,
where you see every single freaking channel in Discord. It takes a while to go through all of them now.
I feel like I would just be like, I've looked through a lot. There better not be any like smoking guns in there. That's enough.
Yeah, it's a thing to say the least. It's a lot to manage, but honestly, I'm really happy to be back for Season 1. And I mean, at this pace, we're honestly well our way to Season 2 already.
Honestly, I mean, I'm excited to see what happens this season. Some interesting games so far. I only saw the EMA versus Forward White's One Locker match. I'll have to go back and see the Legacy versus We Can't Loop. What killers were played on those games?
So, Forward One Locker versus EMA was an interesting one. They pulled out all the stops. We saw 2 nurses, one from Forward Whites, one from EMA. We saw Blight from Forward Whites in the final round, and a Twins from EMA as well. So, 3 S tiers and an A tier, a top A tier at that.
Right, okay. What about the next one, the Legacy versus
Legacy versus Milkshake Mafia? We saw Oni, we saw Pig, which was a bit of a surprise, to say the least. We saw Nurse, and we saw Freddy.
A Piggy? How was that Piggy game? I kind of want to go back and see that.
The Pig game was okay. Definitely a bit of a rough start for Techno, as we did unfortunately have to reset the match due to a firecracker bug. For those who did miss it, and those who are not aware or well-versed, the firecracker bug results in you using a firecracker and then you can't move. So, fun stuff to say the least. So we did have to reset that match due to a game-breaking bug, but I believe Shelby has some news for us.
I do. Sorry, I hate interrupting. We are good to go. Both sides are great.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, in that case, I'll let them know that it's good to go.
I was just about to say, I love that Blight skin, bro. It's like, every single time I see that, I just assume it's a God tier Blight coming in.
Dude, I love that skin so much. It is so well done. And I'll say I used that through and through when I was actually doing what's called the 60 million blood point challenge. Where Scary Drop Bear, another Dead by Daylight content creator, got 6 million blood points in under 30 days and sent out that challenge to the rest of the content creator community. I was like, hell yeah, I can do that. And so I pretty much ran Blight the entire time and actually got my first 50 win streak in a row with Blight.
Nice. I mean, he is, once you kind of get used to him and how he plays, he's just so much fun and he's so powerful. Like, I don't think there's a better design killer, honestly. He's just the best.
Yeah, he's really, really good when you get him down and really get into his flicks. I think the biggest problem that most players have is using wrist flicks instead of like a full arm flick, which Jazzy actually helped me with and got my flicks better. You know, stopping into my stream and giving me some tips and tricks. And at the end of the day, we got a 50 win streak.
Did you get past that, or just at 50?
We got to 53, and then we played during MMR, and MMR was not kind to me that day, as you can imagine.
No? Damn, you had all those gen jockeys coming out for you.
Oh yeah, no, they were pressuring me. I seen Tinkers pop left and right, like, well, okay, this is gonna be the game.
Well, let's see if we get any Tinkers in this game, what the killer's going to bring and what's going on.
I'm sure, but doing a quick look at Survivor builds, they are looking good to go, and we are jumping right on in. We see Fang Min, and we see Temp Baby Licious on Mr. Booba Boy, and these are the right add-ons to play, Beastmark and award-winning Chili.
And one thing I love from Temp Baby Licious right here is that he instantly used his chainsaw for distance. He just wanted to gain some movement speed and get around the map and, you know, put some fear into the survivors.
No, 100%. That's something that a lot of players do not understand when it comes to playing Bubba, is that you actually move at 130% base speed without Beastmark, and with it, I think it moves up to like 136, 140. And so you are a quick killer in that moment. And with award-winning Chili adding an additional 0.25 seconds per charge, you're a hyper lethal killer in that moment.
And a very good smart move right there. He went onto the Nancy to bait out the balanced landing I'm assuming the Nancy had, and made her use the exhaustion so he doesn't need to worry about it for like another full 50 seconds.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, taking the time to check the gens and do that is really smart.
Ooh. Unfortunate, just didn't come out in time. I think the communication right there was just too late. Like, oh, he's actually going into the main building. You need to get out of that death trap.
Yeah, it's a rough position to be in, but honestly, the best thing you could have done there is played the pallet and either done one of two things. You can do some cheeky things with Bubba because his chainsaw does prioritize the break over the survivor, where if you crouch in front of a breakable wall or pallet and the Bubba is not keen on that, it will break that wall or pallet instead.
That is a nice little tech to know. I just don't think they played that right. They just ran right to his face and just accepted their fate.
Yeah. At the very least, I would have loved to have seen them jump into the locker right next to him and at least see if they knew the timing to avoid the grab.
Very few people can do that successfully. Even like top tier players can sometimes mess that up because it is very narrow.
No, it's a very narrow time, especially when you have to then consider things like, you know, award-winning chili, which extends your tantrum ever so slightly.
Yeah.
And so it's a very tricky game to play.
Claude went second stage as well, so basically, Temp, he just waited around to confirm the second stage, and he went down and came in and got another down on somebody. Very solid and slugging it out. Wow, very well played right now.
I mean, realistically speaking, there's really no reason not to. We saw earlier Ruin was in play, so I honestly am all for the slug with Ruin up, because that means that there's now at least 2 people off of gens, supposedly a third person in the instance that they go for the pickup or the unhook.
They got the pickup now, yeah.
So, I mean, you're in a really, really good spot, and at this point, you might as well start the game over, but started with hooks in hand, because Bubba is here to play.
100%, and I think they're dying on hook, man.
Yeah, just barely. Oh, we don't see the pause yet.
I don't see it either.
Yeah, there it is. So that is the first kill on 5 gens, and another hook here for Bubba. Temp is bringing out the pressure, and I mean, Bubba's a good top B tier, arguably some people would say A tier killer, and when played well, using your chainsaw for distance and not just for the insta-down, I mean, he is a force to be reckoned with.
And Claude, she was in like the perfect spot for Temp. He was like, I mean, she was right in the center of like so many gens that he could just instantly go and check and pressure people off of. So a very central area for him just to kind of camp them out, and still got hooks in between that. They're doubling up on this gen, but both getting pressured off. This is nasty. If he gets one down, he can get the other one down. And
Ooh. Just barely. That's one of the hard parts about Bubba, is when you go to chainsaw, sometimes they can like almost fade back behind your chainsaw. You have no idea where they went.
And going for the slug for the 4K at 5 gens. This is insane for a Bubba on this map.
I mean, really good plays all up, and I think they got some really good overall, you know, good momentum in the early game. And so we do see Claudette, or Nancy now, going on to the second stage, and I think at this point, Milkshake Mafia is trying to stop the bleeding and try and get some points, if any.
I think they just want to at least get one generator done at this point, just something on the board so that Deadhead doesn't need to do as much, right? Like, they just need something.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, even if it's one gen, hey, it's something to help you out and try and bridge that gap when your killer is up next.
Yeah, even for just pride, just for pride.
100%.
I'd be fighting for that. Look at these clean chainsaws around the truck. Not even bumping. It was pretty narrow, too. Wasn't, like, taking it wide at all, so wasn't losing any distance. And another down. Oh, it gets 360 again! Through the chainsaw and with the normal M1 attack.
Yeah, you know, have some moves there on Fallen Ryan, but at the end of the day, moves are great and all, but gens and escapes are where it's at, and this Bubba ain't having any of that.
Nope, tried to get that at least one gen done, as you were saying, and just didn't come to fruition. Gonna get chased off. I mean, she gained a ton of ground, so it's gonna take a second to catch up. I mean, we could talk about anything. You have a nice cup of coffee this morning?
Well, I surprisingly actually don't drink coffee. It actually makes me sleepy.
I don't either. I don't, everyone I know just drinks coffee. As a university student, we just chug that thing mostly, but I prefer, like, I don't know, energy drinks rather than just coffee itself. I don't know, it just doesn't put me on it. Anyways, gets it down, going back now. It's going to be constant slugging. The game is already over. It's just going to be going back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, until Bubba here is able to just secure the 4K, he's not going to let up on them, not going to give them any breathing room.
I think
so,
it's the first thing he's been usable.
You know, real quick, while we have the time to kind of spend here, Tuesday is fast approaching. Thoughts, MMR? What do you think?
MMR, I like it personally as someone who, you know, likes, you know, close games, competitive things. I also like it when, you know, there's just random games that there's like bad killers or bad survivors where it's just fun, you can jack around. So some might be missed in that area, but I'm just not sure how it's going to implement because, you know, as I was on PS5, I don't exactly, I didn't get to see MMR enacted in that PTB recently, so I don't know how it was precisely.
That's fair. I mean, personally, I'm quite excited for it, as
Yeah,
I think it's going to definitely be rough for that top 5%, and that's going to be a lot of your comp killers, of course. But overall, it should leave for a better experience, and looks like we got some basement Bubba here, waiting very patiently, ensuring that they do not leave.
He doesn't want anything like a deli. He doesn't. Oh, it's not going to happen, though.
Yeah, it's not going to happen now, especially with that, and that will be... If you look at this, that was a 1 hook, 2 progressions for every survivor, but hey, that's still 40 points to 0 in favor of Deadheads.
I would take that any day, man. That was so well played by AB right there. Just insane.
Nah, amazing play, and a very handed victory by Temp Babylicious. So, you know, it's going to be up to Milkshake Mafia now to see if they're able to respond in kind with their killer.
What do they even do? Like, I'm pretty sure, I think they just made a mistake here, and then Bubba got a really good hook. Like, I don't even think they can bring out an S-tier killer and match that game. They can't, like, I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, if I'm really evaluating the situation at hand, the main real snowball where it really started was that down in garage, and I think, you know, Temp just really made good use of that time.
Oh, 100%. Like, it was such a central area, again, where all the gens are and where everyone needs to run in the open so he can see them easily and cut them off from the hill, wherever he's going. It's just perfect placement, and they were trying to be altruistic. I think maybe if they just committed to a gen and just let them die, maybe they would have had like 1 or 2 gens done instead of trying to come in for saves. That might have been the case. I'm not exactly sure what happened on their end, what their comms were like, but that probably would have been the best case scenario.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, it's very tough in comps to make that decision because obviously the killer's playing a completely different game than what you would see in pubs. But it's a hard thing to say, okay, we need to let X, Y, and Z die. We need to get some gens. Doesn't matter how many gens, just some of them.
I think they're probably going to come back on this game and watch it and see what happened and maybe go over their own footage because, yeah, it's just a travesty, unfortunately. I bet that never happened when they were practicing. It was just a freak game for them, and they got really unlucky with how it went and where people went down. Yeah,
no, 100%. And at the end of the day, you know, the biggest way to look at that is live and let live and, you know, move on to the next match and hopefully be able to go, okay, we can do better than that. We know we can. Let's, you know, play better next time.
Yeah, and I recently scrimmed against Temp's Bubba on that same map as, you know, part of their, you know, warm-up. And he did solid against our team as well. He did pretty good. I'm not going to say exactly what happened, but it wasn't a 4K, but we got all 5 gens done. It was close. It was basically a tie in my book. It was a tie. He is a really good killer, especially on that type of map for Bubba. Like, he was using his chainsaw well. He did everything quite well, and I'm excited to see what Milkshake Mafia brings to the table. But I'm hoping for something kind of fun. It has to be a high mobility killer. It's got to be something with speed.
Yeah, I think 100% something similar. Obviously, you know, this season, one of the main differences for those who have not heard already that are different from the last, we are allowing every killer to be used twice versus once. So we're going to be seeing a lot of similar killers used again and again. Lots of nurses, lots of spirits, lots of blights, bubbas. I imagine Huntresses and Deathslingers. In this instance, I wouldn't be surprised to see another Bubba, a Freddy. Blight's okay on this map, depending on the RNG in middle. There's some RNG in middle where the loops are so tight that he just becomes an M1 115 killer.
And then there's just thinking a ton of barrels and random tires that you can just run around and do various things. It can be just such a pain to bump off them. Nah, yeah, it depends. I probably wouldn't even use it. I'd probably just use like a Bubba. Like, see if I can do something similar to them, get at least some points on the board so that for the second map, they can have a chance to maybe crush their team and, you know, it becomes a close game again, you know?
No, 110%. I mean, that's exactly what they need to do here because they pretty much need to do the same thing, if not better, and because if they get a 2K 6 hook, then, you know, you just kind of keep things where they are. But if you're able to reset. Yeah, they need to somehow get, at the very least, I'd say maybe a 3K here to at least try and bridge that gap. and try and, you know, put more pressure back on Deadheads and potentially force them to use another really good killer like Bubba, for example.
They would have at least a chance. If they get a 2K or a 3K here, they would have a chance to, you know, because on their next killer game on the Cold Tower, they could have a really good game where they 4K of 4 gens, and then their Survivor side, they get a 4 out and something like that, right? And they could come back and win it. So there's still time. There's still things they can do. I'm just curious to see what the game plan is. And also, talking about Tuesday, what do you think about Pinhead? Like, just first thoughts, first impressions.
So I played PTB with Pinhead. I played Pinhead. I think I'd streamed for 10 hours 8 hours that day. I think I only got like 10, 12 games in. It was like the queues were that bad, but like I stuck through it.
Oh.
And I'll say, Wicket's satisfying killer to play. I love them as a concept. They're just those small little tweaks that I was like, they need to make. And the biggest thing was around Lament configuration. And what I wanted them to do was make it so that Chain Hunt only stops or resets once the Lament configuration has been solved, and that the person holding it is not affected by Chain Hunt. They kind of did that, but they made it so that the person holding the Lament configuration is the only one who gets affected by Chain Hunt. Their timer doesn't end, which I think is the exact opposite of what they should have done.
Right. I honestly, they also needed to have it so the chains take like maybe even like a half second or just a tiny bit longer to break, because I feel like at times in the loops, the survivor could just break it off way too easily by just like walking, and then they could still get to that pallet. So it seemed like I watched a ton of footage on it. It just seemed very hard to hit the power sometimes. I mean, once you get good at it, you know, it'll be easier, but it didn't seem as really worth the risk, you know, going into power.
I think the biggest thing is, and the main issue, that the timing, honestly, I didn't feel like they need to increase the timing of the chain break, but what they did need to fix was how chain breaking actually worked. For those who don't know or didn't play in the PTB or haven't watched a lot, is if you hold down M1, it eventually breaks the chain. It takes about less than a second. So it's not long, but you have 3 chains on you. The problem is that if you go around a corner and the environment breaks a chain, it does not reset that timer. So what you can theoretically do is if you're at 99.9% of your chain break and you go around a corner and break 1 chain, then breaks another chain, it breaks 2 chains in that same moment. That is one of the biggest things that I don't know if they fixed or not, and is a little bit concerning, but I believe Shelby has some news for us. Maybe. I saw that on mute.
Oh, yeah, I muted on my headset. Sorry about that. Both build sides are good. We are good to go.
Awesome, thank you.
As much as I like staring at that face, you must go on.
Exactly. And just want to confirm
and the map is good as well.
Perfect. I want to make sure I messaged them in chat as well to just double check. Never want to reset if we can help it.
Oh yeah.
Like, I wish that I could see, I'd be like, you know, as a spectator, I could check what the settings are, but only the host is able to check, and then we can only see it if they change anything.
I feel like there are so many things they can do to custom games just to improve life in general. Like, they can change spectating so you can get like a bird's eye view. They could do so many different things that other games have as a function. It's just not a priority to them. You know, because comp scene isn't really something that they think about, really. They're just like, oh, spectating is a good enough system we got, and you can just follow their camera.
Yeah, what I'm hoping, you know, so one thing about Tuesday that I'm really hoping for, I kind of hope they do more what people are referring to as paragraphs instead of chapters. I really hope that in the future they do more just 1 killer, 3 perks, 1 survivor, 3 perks, and that's it. Honestly, I'll still pay the full DLC amount. I don't care. As long as they use the extra time that they would be developing 1 or 2 survivors, a map, and fixing the game. Honestly, I'd be perfectly okay with that.
I would be fine with that as well, honestly. Like, it'd be nice to have some more maps, especially a map that's not indoors for once. Like, every single map that's come out recently, I swear, is an indoor map. We got Midwich, we got RPD. It keeps going. I'm like, give us another outdoor map, please.
To be fair, for RPD, that's more probably of the license agreement. And I will say,
Yes,
as many issues as RPD has from a competitive perspective, I do love the attention to detail on that map.
Bro, it's amazing. Like, I love going through the water and some of the bathrooms and the various locations. You just see every little minute detail. It's great, but gameplay-wise, it can be helped. All right, let's get into this, though.
But real quick check on build. Looks good to me at first glance. And we are on in. And interesting. Milkshake Mafia responding in kind with another Bubba as well.
I did call it out. I did say they're probably going to come out with another Bubba, maybe. See if they can replicate it. I don't know. Something of equal caliber.
I mean, I want to point out one thing that already concerns me, and no offense to Cake. It is literally the fact that Beast Mark is not used, and that they're not using their chainsaw for distance.
Exactly. I feel like they could learn from Temp there with just instantly using their chainsaw to gain any sort of pressure on the map.
Not to mention that, but a lot of people misjudge the timing you have on your chainsaws and almost misuse it. A really cool thing you can do with Bubba's chainsaw is to actually insta-shred a pallet at 3 charges, and then immediately chainsaw off 2 charges. You will catch a survivor no matter what.
Oh, and that must have been 2 survivors on that thing, as we saw the undetectable status go off and instantly finish that up before you can even get there. And Dokkan played that tile really well and not going down as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Oh.
And this was definitely indicative of either prove thyself or usage of that toolbox at the end there to counter
Likely,
Tinkerer.
Yeah. Oh, almost back into him.
Yeah, I was probably not sure what direction they were going to go in.
Yeah.
Thought they're going to get that cheeky mind game and end up mind gaming themselves there.
And here comes the hold the W portion. But let's see if they can play this TNL correctly. And it looks like they're going to have at least some time built on this.
Yeah, they have a little bit of time. Obviously, Bloodlust 1 coming in. Will they be able to take out the Dead Hard? Doesn't look like it's necessary, but another gen going to be completed all the while.
Yeah. So 2 gens done for the first down, and just running away, basically just trying to gain as much distance away from where the generators are to waste as much time as possible. So really solid on the Leon's part. Did what he could. Maybe panic vaulted once, but that's not the end of the world. They got the job done.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of people don't know. Basically, when Tinker goes off, a gen is at 70%. At that point, a killer has 24 seconds to get to the gen before it is finished.
And then it's variable with like how many survivors are on there, toolbox, food, and such. But yeah, that's like the general premise.
Exactly. Yeah, for a while I thought it was only 16 seconds, not 24. Then I looked back into like, oh, it's 24. Interesting.
Down. That's exactly what happened in the previous game.
I was about to say, like, I don't know what it is with that area, why survivors panic so much, but they do, and they just run directly into Bubba every single time.
I think they're just trying to get out of that death room before he comes in, but don't quite make it with communication or just misunderstanding the terror radius of what's happening, how close he is, and they're trying to commit to that gen. I mean, so just a factor.
Yeah, I think that what they need to do is, like, there are certain killers that you simply need to respect terror radius on, and Bubba is one of them that you just need to every single time.
Legit, there's some spots like in jungle gyms you can like risk it because you know that you're safe, but there, that's a legit box. Like, unless you break a door, that's a box. You're dead against a Bubba there.
Exactly. No ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Going back to Leon, you're gonna try to maybe tunnel Leon out perhaps and try to gain some momentum that way because there are already 2 gens done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day here, with if another gen pops off and there's not a survivor dead, Milkshake Mafia is going to find themselves in a very, very weak position.
100%. They still have 2 gens for 2 hooks, so they're not at a horrible spot, but they need to get Leon down, honestly. But going after the Nia here may not be the best position because they have not been hooked.
Well, not only that, but we're also seeing that they're looping in an area where gens have already been completed.
Exactly.
So they're putting themselves at an innate disadvantage because of that.
They get the down, but again, all the way in the corner of the map, nothing's over here. Nia is completely fine going down here right now.
And not only one Tinker proc, 1 gen will get finished right now, and a second gen is now getting completed as we speak.
Well, this is the reason why Tinker can sometimes be stressed. You're like, I just don't want to know what's being done. I can react, but just don't tell me how many notifications are going on, you know? Don't tell me how good.
So that's why, interesting that you talk about that. Deadlock is a very interesting perk coming to the game on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because it's like Tinkerer, but in some cases better, but some cases worse, depending on what benefit you're looking for out of Tinkerer.
I really want to play with it some more and see what happens. Like, I haven't looked into all the necessary details and like what's different, but I'll have to do that soon and see if Tinker or that perk would be better.
Well, if he won, I have a video coming out on Tuesday if they don't change the perk on Deadlock, because I have an argument to make that Deadlock 1 is better than Deadlock 3.
Oh, I'll have to watch that then. But back to this then. Leon, they're just leaving Leon again. It's like they don't want to tunnel someone out. Like, they're afraid to lose gens too much. Like, they need to get Leon out way earlier.
Yeah, I think this is more or less just kind of killer panic of, okay, I need to pressure gens, but at the same time, the best way to pressure gens is to kill someone out of the game. Get them out of the game early.
This is another fresh hook right now. That's on Meg.
Yep.
And maybe, no, it doesn't have enough charges. I would commit to this, though. I would commit and get the Leon down and hooked right now.
Oh, 110%. And in
they
fact,
already got Meg up.
good thing they did that too, as we did see Meg actually get back up with Adrenaline.
Yeah. The last gen done. I didn't even notice that. I didn't hear the gen pop on my side.
Yeah, it's because it kind of coincided with the down, I think, side by side. And at this point, I mean, it sucks to say, but Milkshake Mafia's best circumstance might be to simply secure this kill.
Alright, and they're just going to leave. They're going to take the 3-0 here.
Oh, yeah, 100%. The problem is here, based on the position of when the last gen was done, where the hook is now, the exit gate that they're going to be going to is too far away. You make it over there, they're already going to be out, as we see right now.
They just opened it, they're leaving right now.
Exactly. That is the best case scenario for Deadheads at this point in time. You know, leave Leon for dead. We'll see you back at the campfire.
Exactly. They won this round here on this map, both on Bubba's. They had much more gen pressure and just prioritized things a little bit better and didn't have as many small mistakes that really can be big against the Bubba.
Now 110%, so the end of that round, we are looking at 38 points for Deadheads and 19 points for Milkshake Mafia, with a total score of 19 Milkshake Mafia and 78 Deadheads. Milkshake Mafia in this trial number 3 pretty much needs to wipe the board and ensure that they're not able to get a single survivor out.
Honestly, let's see what killer they bring out. Are they going to risk it and bring an S-tier killer out, or are they just going to kind of come in with some low-tier killer and kind of just accept defeat?
Yeah, I mean, that is the question of the day, and honestly, if I was them, with the fact that everyone can use killers twice, honestly, I'd just say go for it. You know, bring out something and bring in someone who needs more comp experience and see what happens, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's all for some fun here as well. They want to win, but at the end of the day, it'll give them some practice as well if they're, you know, still getting beat pretty bad.
But with that being said, I will have Shelby confirm for us real quick if we will see Cake be killing it again, or if Milkshake Mafia will be subbing out.
I actually just asked them. I will let you know. As of right now, I'm not sure.
I'm going to guess based on the lobby reset, probably.
Yeah, probably not. What's the score right now officially?
Fallen Riot is.
Perfect, thank you. The score right now is 19 Milkshake Mafia, 78 Deadheads.
Damn, yeah. I mean, if they have a really, really good game here, I could see something done. But, yeah, it's going to have to be pretty impressive.
Exactly. I mean, it's right now a 69... not 69. How many points is it? It's a 68-point game. 68? 58.
Yeah.
58-point game. There we go. Words. Maths can be hard sometimes. We've been commentating for almost 5 hours today. But with that being said, we're jumping right on into our next round. Let's get Deadheads up on in here and see what Fallen Ryan brings to the table.
Ooh, Fallen Ryan. This is the Meg in the first match that was doing those 60s on the chainsaw swing, and the M1 attacks.
Exactly. So here's a question for you, because I know that this has been in discussion, and we're still evaluating whether or not the change will be made for Season 2. Thoughts on Noed in the league? Should it be unbanned?
Personally, I'd say yes. I'm kind of indifferent to it. I don't really care either way. But personally, I think, for some, like, weaker killers in particular, maybe say, like, Billy's Billy's all right, but Billy in particular, like, in various other leagues, he kind of needs Noed at the very end just to secure a kill, even if it's a 1K. Otherwise, they just get bullied. Like, if you're talking about 2 killers per, season, if you're going to have to go into, like, Huntress, you're going to have to go into, various other killers, maybe a Nemesis at some point, various other killers around the Pyramid Head, and you might need to know it at the very end just to secure something, Now,
that makes a lot of sense, and real quick, I do see Shelby has unmuted. Any news regarding builds?
Actually, it's about your camera. Your camera froze again.
Drivers be driving. Unfortunately, for those who are not aware, it's a little bit of a meme over on my personal channel where my drivers like to, they like to stop working at some point, so I have to reset the camera on a regular basis, so thank you very much for that heads up. With that being said, I definitely see the argument, and this season, it's why, where Season 0, I didn't really take detailed stats on killer win ratio, and stuff like that, where this season I am to see, based on our survivor pool that we have, if Noed does need to get unbanned.
I would say as well that, like, you can get hit with Noed, and then they get on hook, and they can kind of camp that out, but at the same time, depending on who the killer is, if they're keeping track of totems they're finding on the way that are dull, it's a good team, they'll kind of call that out, like, oh, I saw a totem over here, yada, yada, yada. They instantly can check that as soon as Noed hits, depending on the pressure and situation. They can cleanse that if, say, it's like a 3-man, and boom, they're back right on it.
No, exactly. So
it's not tenable.
I know exactly, and that's where I think, I want to take the decel statistics and see how strong Survivor vs. Killer is this season, as we do have some really good Survivor teams, as we are seeing here of Deadheads, but also some really good Killer teams as well. So I'm definitely curious to see what the stats show us by the end of Season 1, and of course Season 2, then we'll make that decision accordingly.
I think that's fair. Honestly, I'm sure all the teams will be fine without the Noed, but in the future, I think it will be the smart call, especially with, like, the 2 killer per, season thing, and you can't always use a nurse or a spirit or a cracked flight, where those guys don't really need Noed, except sometimes, it can be a really nice clutch moment if it's against a really god tier team, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be interesting to see, at the end of the day, there will be no changes to Season 1, but we'll be taking detailed stats to see what decision will be in Season 2. But Shelby, I see that you're unmuted.
It's your cue now. We are good to go. Both sides are ready, and he did confirm that the map is good, so we should be good.
Perfect. Thank you much for the heads up, and we're jumping right on into trial number 3 of Deadheads versus Milkshake Mafia. If you're a Milkshake Mafia Domo, what do you think you would bring in this instance?
It's just strategy and what they think their next matchups are going to be like. Do they think that, as they saw, the Survivor team, do they think that if they bring an S tier killer, can they get a 4K at like 4 gens left? That would be my question. Otherwise, I would bring in like a little bit of a weaker killer and just kind of take the experience.
No, exactly. I think that no matter what they decide to do, I think walking away with experience playing against a good Survivor team and a good Killer team is something to look back on. As someone who played on 4x1 Locker, which you are very familiar with,
yes.
Seeing how far they've grown by being able to take their L's and to, teach themselves from that, it goes a very long way.
Oh, 100%. They have grown so much, and then when I joined them and by the time I left them, I'm impressed to see where they've come from and what's happened.
Exactly. But with that being said, we should be seeing the Survivor perks here momentarily to just confirm and jump on into the match on Cold Tower. From first glance,
high anticipation.
Survivor perks look good, and we are seeing some Billy.
Nice.
So this will be interesting to see. We were actually just talking about this, how you're saying that Billy could definitely benefit from Noed being more of a M1 killer with mobility than simply an insta-down killer.
He is no longer that way, sad days.
Yeah, you know, maybe they'll bring back the Space Billy program, but today's not that day.
I would love that. And we see the nice cheeky add-ons, the lovely Low Pro, which I think is a very good add-on set to use on Billy.
Actually, not Low Pro. We have Spike Boots and I believe not Beast Mark, but Claw Marks. Low Pro would be the chains itself.
Yeah, no, I completely missed. I just saw purple. I didn't even look at it a second time. Like, oh, Low Pro. As I thought the smart thing to do.
That's fair. I mean, the Spike Boots are very good. Usually I do see a lot of Spike Boots in Low Pro on Billy because, you know, add-ons were nerfed to hell and back.
Oh, exactly, yeah. I just thought I assume Low Pro is so fun to use and definitely can be good to get confirmed hits, especially when they're going to drop that pallet guaranteed.
Exactly. But, you know, with that being said here, you know, definitely a very slow start. We saw a Totem, which we can probably assume to be Ruin or Devour, cleanse very early. I mean, that Billy is definitely going to be in a difficult location, you know, difficult spot to start off here.
One thing I like about this gameplay so far is that he's had so much more pressure just from the mobility alone on the chainsaw, being able to pressure survivors off the gens. So nothing has kind of happened. There's no Tinkerer things. There's nothing going on. We don't know how much gen progress is going on. We don't know any of that. It seems like it's going slower for both sides right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's definitely better usage.
Oh!
Was that a 99 sprint burst, or?
I have no idea how he dodged that. And there we see an undetectable status effect, so getting somewhere on the gens. And the first down. I think he's in a better spot now compared to last game where it was 2 gens done for the first chase, or the first down.
No, 100%. I think this is a good example to where using your power, especially if you have some form of mobility power earlier, is going to benefit you. And I was just about to say a little bit concerned of how close they are to those bottom branches. For those who don't know about McMillan, for some ungodly reason, those branches that are about head height will block you if you're a Bubba or Billy.
It's always so frustrating to see that happen. In particular, you're just like, damn it, I could have gone all the way there.
Yeah, it definitely is a struggle, and almost getting a grab there. Honestly, Billy realized exactly what I just thought, where Leon's already injured, no reason to risk the chainsaw dodge. Just get that one and call it a day.
Gets the down, prevents the gen from popping, the ideal scenario here. Now, is there a hook on the hill? Doesn't seem to be the case.
No, unfortunately not, but, you know, this back hook, not bad. It's kind of back in your 3 gen if you keep, keeping this area, but the real problem is this Repressed Alliance, which thankfully did just shut off.
Came back, like, just in the nick of time. Didn't have to wait or anything. It's like he had a clock in his head.
Yeah, Repressed Alliance, really good Survivor perk when used well, and I'm waiting for the moment in one of these games where we have a Survivor use Repressed and Blast Mine in conjunction, but Billy, once again, really good start here in comparison to Bubba last round.
He went for the trade, which I'm not sure if that was the right call yet, but it might have been just to buy some time.
Yeah, I mean, on 4 gens, it's okay. I think once again, though, we're seeing Fallen Ryan almost fall into a similar trap to last round, where they need someone out of the match.
Well, this is a different killer, though. A different person playing killer. So it's
No, 100%, definitely a different killer, but, you know, you can still learn from mistakes of your teammates, and I think, you know, the big thing we need to see here is we currently have 1 hook on 3 different survivors. You know, we need one of them to just be out of the game ASAP, because once you get to that 2 gen area and there's no one dead, that's where, as a killer, you kind of need to start panicking a bit.
This is like exactly the same scenario that we were just talking about last game, as you mentioned, where they needed to tunnel out the Leon, or needed to tunnel out someone different now. You just need to find someone, pick them, and go after them, and then try to get, you know, a 2K, 3K off of that, depending if they have a 3 gen or not.
Yeah, when it comes to comp play, my personal strategy is always I have whoever my first hook is, they're my first priority. Then the second hook, they're my second priority. I just bounce between the first and second priority survivors until one of them dies, and then you just can clean up at that point.
No, I agree with that 100%. You do need some pressure on the survivors, like, oh, we cannot have this person die, and then it kind of builds some panic or protection hits coming through, so as many people on gens, you know, various different circumstances. And he might be trying to target the Leon here, who didn't heal up. Oh, and uses the sprint burst that was basically 99.
Yeah, I mean, that was, you know, very obvious bait there. If you see a survivor walking away from you, just sauntering down the way, you know, very obvious sprint burst, but they're kind of in a dead zone here, so it really didn't matter in the long run.
No, I think I would have stayed at that T and L and just tried to buy some time there instead of just trying to like hold W. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, maybe they just didn't feel confident enough to be able to do so in that moment.
Exactly. Still getting a lot of Tinkers, and here comes another Tinkerer, but not going to go for it. Instead, electing to get the hook instead.
I mean, this is by all means the right move. I mean, you need, in order to really pressure that Tinker, you need pop in hand. In order to get pop in hand, you need to put someone on a hook. So it really puts you into this awkward position when Ruin's already gone at this point in time.
100%. Getting the basement hook as well, but I mean, he doesn't even want to be on the side of the map because all of his gens are over there.
Yeah.
So I don't even think it's really worth it, even hooking there.
There are some killers as well. They just don't want to be in basement, and I think Billy's honestly one of those where you can't really get from one side of the map into basement to really contest that unhook. Whereas, like, at least with Bubba, you have that insta-down that can just run a train over the survivors and put them down 1, 2, 3.
No, I completely agree. He's going back. He's not trying to protect his generators as much anymore. It looks like he's going to try to confirm a kill.
Which might be the move here. But we see another... Was that 1 or 2 Tinkerers pop off there?
I actually didn't know for sure.
Yeah, because I heard 2 noise notifications, but I can't say for certain whether it's 1 or 2. And this is the wrong move here, because this is the first hook here for Panda.
I think he should have just slugged and gone right after the Leon and just risked the DS play right there.
No, 110%, and it was 2 Tinkerers almost back to the point where, like, unless I heard that noise notification, I would not have realized that there was any additional time set on that Tinkerer.
And that's what I'm saying as well. Like, I'm not sure why he elected to go basement and kind of come back, because they're not going to care, really. They're just going to maybe send one person there as they did and just focus on the gens, because it doesn't matter if he's a 5 million miles away. They're just going to do these gens and get a 3-man out.
Yeah, exactly, and that's going to put Deadheads in a very, very advantageous position. To be fair, definitely not a bad showing from Fallen Ryan here, but definitely some things that I think could have been done differently to apply more pressure all up.
I agree, and just some small mistakes, but I believe he had some good early game pressure, but I just think decisions came into effect of like who he was chasing, what was going on, maybe didn't slug it. Oh, they snuck past? What?
No, not even. Defense? That's a deliverance in hand.
Deli,
yeah. So they went into basement knowing full well it was probably going to be a trade, but hey, they don't care because at this point, you have decisive strike, more likely than not. Billy's forced to make a decision between just sitting here and waiting it out or having a 3-man out. So you're in a difficult position to say the least.
It's just going to be a 3-man out, and they're just going to wait it out as long as they can.
Exactly, exactly.
I am watching on my phone, so I didn't see the broken status effect until you mentioned it. So like, oh damn, it is though. I was like, how did they get down there?
Broken status effect. Hatch has been enclosed, which was pretty close over there, to be fair. And now all Fallen Ryan needs to do at this point is simply, you know, sit here, wait out the broken status effect, which is the same time as your DS. So if you pick up any sooner, you're just going to be asking for trouble.
That's the one kind of like slightly disadvantageous thing, is that the killer has like no need to actually count. It's just, oh, I know that once that runs out, I'm good.
Oh no, absolutely. But it's also a little bit of a mind game, right? I know for me, like, I'll refuse to pick up someone that's broken. And so in that instance, I'm like, no, I'm not going to touch you. I fear that DS. But at the same time,
it doesn't matter.
But yeah, at the same time, it doesn't matter. And also, they could have Unbreakable, which is always the fun part.
100%. And it looks like they did have the DS as well, so it just didn't matter at the end of the game.
Exactly, exactly. Well, at the end of that round, we're looking at 38 points for Deadheads and 27 points at Milkshake Mafia. So definitely a much better game in comparison to what we saw from the Cannibal. But at the same time, will it really matter? Unfortunately not, as Milkshake Mafia is currently at 46 points to Deadhead's 116. So this last match can kind of be brought in by Deadheads using a Trapper for all they probably care.
Bro, I want to see a Billy again, just because they've been matching each other, and can we just get a full, you know, game of just chainsaw killers? Like, hello?
The Chainsaw Bros coming out today?
The chainsaw, yeah, exactly. Just the full chainsaw game. Nothing else, just chainsaws.
Exactly.
What are other killers besides the chainsaw boys?
Well, that being said, we'll get confirmation from Shelby momentarily on who Deadhead's killer is going to be.
It is Gothergy, so I'm gonna have to match you.
Alright, sounds good. I do appreciate it. Actually, do I have Gothergy already added? I feel like I do.
I think you would.
Yeah, from my days in Vigo's court specifically at this point.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And in fact, I did see them go up on Steam, so I do have them added. It's whether or not I can find them on DBD. That is always the question of the day. So, with that being said, all in all, you know, it obviously is a swan song for Milkshake Mafia going into this 4th trial. But honestly, really good showing by them. I know that they are a bit of a newer team, especially off their showing in Season 0. But I still think they have a lot of room for improvement, but that's not a bad thing. Honestly, I think that one thing that I definitely want this league to emphasize is supporting those teams that still need work and really keeping them in competitive, because if we don't, that's how competitive dies. I've been in too many competitive scenes that have died that way. So, you know, I think biggest thing from Milkshake Mafia, keep on scrimming, keep on playing, and keep on doing better bit by bit.
100%. I mean, you don't start at the top. You don't start at like Oracle level. You don't start at that area, right? It's like, oh, we're instantly going to have the team synergy and, you know, complete knowledge of every single little thing. You know, you build that through time and just experience and playing with your teammates.
Exactly. No, 110%. And like I said before, and I'll always go back to them as a great example, it's my time for It's One Locker. And not speaking poorly of them in whatsoever, but, you know, in their first ever showing of comp, has always told to me of how, you know, they were carried by my killer, which I will not deny, they won't either, but to see how far they've grown as a Survivor team, especially up until this point, you know, they definitely are a completely different team through and through, and they are a shining example of where you can start, where you can only, you know, kind of run around with, like a chicken with its head cut off, to where they are now, they are a competent team where they made it to finals last season.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, should be interesting to see what teams go where this season and then progressing into future seasons.
Exactly.
And hopefully everyone kind of stays around and we get to see how everyone progresses, you know, skill advance and everything.
No, 110%, 110%. And
especially with teams like EMA joining and various more competitive teams and, you know, very good Survivor squads coming in should really give a lot of killers and survivors in general that are going against their killers some good experience. Be fun.
Exactly. I mean, we have EMA, we have Travesty, we have Regicide, Monarchy this season. So, like, a lot of really good teams that I feel like are definitely have a good roster of veteran players that I would say, you know, if I was the Milkshake Mafias of this league, reach out to them. I think that was one of the biggest things that I saw from Forward Whites recently, is reaching out to more teams with more experience of them and learning from them and working with them to get better. So whether that be Milkshake Mafia, you know, some other newer teams, like how do we get here? I think that's the best thing that you can do, and just keep on working bit by bit.
Yeah, exactly. And it goes back to that point where you gotta go through it. You can't just instantly snap your fingers and be there.
Exactly.
Now, are we almost there? I want to see if it's going to be a Billy. But from Gothergy, I don't think it's going to be a Billy, sadly. I shed a tear. It's going to be someone else. He really likes his spirit. He likes Doctor. I think he's a pretty good hag as well from the past. I've seen him.
I could see Doctor or Hag this match. So Cold Tower is kind of interesting. It doesn't spawn as a 3 or 4 gen as commonly as like Dead Dog Saloon, for example. But with that being said, it definitely can spawn some pretty nice 3 gens for Hag to take make use of.
I would like to see a Hag. You know, it can be some slower games, but they can be quite fun to see depending on, you know, how well organized the Survivor side is.
No, 110%, 110%. And so, I think, on one hand, like, I don't think Gothergy is going to bring out the spirit. You know, there's no need to, obviously.
No.
But I would love to see a Hag. Hag is a very contentious killer, because Some people say that Hag has no place in comp. Some people like myself say that they do, but they need to be played in a very certain way. It's very hit or miss on how well Hag can be played. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, it just depends on how good the survivors are. If they have someone that's dedicated with the flashlight and going around disarming the traps, constantly pestering, like triggering it, and then going outside the range so they can't do an ITH, it's so easy to counter them because you can just break up the web before she can really set it up.
Exactly,
now,
but real quick, I do think Shelby has some news for us.
Hi, yeah, we're ready to go on both sides, and I'm excited for this match.
Yeah,
awesome. Well, in that case, we're ready on up, and yeah, I think you're 100% right. My biggest thing is I find a lot of Hags, they put traps in tiles to where you can trip it off and just double back, or trip it off and run right through, where the Hag will miss the ITH. I find that a lot of Hags in comp miss out on corner traps or failing to understand how Hag traps activate. Because for those who don't know, when you hit a Hag trap, it snaps it to your camera to the middle of the trap. So if you are hitting that at like a 90-degree angle, you're running straight, you just hit the outside, left outside, it'll snap it to that right-hand side. There's no way to avoid the ITH. So I feel like a lot of Hags just miss out on their trap placement 9 times out of 10.
And also another weak spot is that once you're carrying someone, you can just like instantly go break everything. So it's hard. All right, let's see what happens though. It's Trapper!
It is Trapper, boys. So let's see here.
I saw someone that's not asking for it, and they got it.
Yeah, I'm interested. Will we see the basement Trapper today? That's the real question.
It seems like it could be likely, but I don't... we'll see.
Yeah, so far, you know, nothing showing Basement Trapper as Basement actually has spawned over in main building. Though that is a pretty mean spot for Basement to be to on Gold Tower. There's no real bad spot for Basement here.
Well, if you have something like Agitation, for instance, you can almost pick someone up and go there instantly. And so it can be really nasty. But again, it's Evan, aka Trapper, so you're gonna have to take time to get that first down and set up and yada yada yada. So there should be a bunch of gens popping here, I'd assume.
I mean, they actually got a really good Corrupt Intervention there. So based on spawns on this map, based on where Gothorgy spawn, means that Survivor spawn in like inside of the Corrupt Zone, meaning that Gothorgy just has all the time in the world to spend.
100%. Oh, they kind of keep running into him though. Like they're either playing too risky at the windows, or they're just trying to get those gens down. They're just not respecting
You need to change the scene.
Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. To be fair, not much happened there, but completely got thrown off guard by Trapper Boy and did not change the scene. So do apologize about that. Hope you guys did enjoy this version of DBD the podcast. Yeah, but should be good to go now. Oh, you know what happened? Interesting, my hotkeys didn't work. I literally just hit them and they just did not work again. GG's on that.
Unfortunate. Look at Gothorgy doing the exceptional mind games around Shaq, completely bamboozling, and not the perk, bamboozling.
Yeah, exactly. On the bright side, first took this entire game.
I mean, and Jen hasn't popped yet, so...
Yeah, exactly. You guys didn't miss anything. It's all just trap setup.
Exactly. You heard my commentary and you knew exactly what was happening. Okay?
Exactly. You heard the traps go down. You heard once in a while there be a chase. You're good.
Yeah.
Oh, but hey, do a pause about that, but things do happen, and we do get a very cheeky mind game there on Fallen Ryan.
On the quad, and the same one.
But we do get the first gen pop all the while.
Yeah. Oh, dead hard?
Yeah, that was a dead hard right there, so good use of it, but it only will extend the chase for so long, unfortunately.
No, just kind of dead harded into the open where there was no powder or anything, so... That just bought a few seconds. 2 hooks for only 1 gen so far. Evan S tier? Question mark? Hello?
Yes, the S tier Trapper we all know and love.
Yeah. You know what one day if they did that as a joke? Just April Fools. They just made him entirely OP. I would love that.
Honestly, I just wish that they would do something for Trapper. Like, as fun as Trapper is and as gratifying he can be to play, like, they just have given Trapper 0 love this entire time for a full 5 years.
They tried to heal out in the open with no cover or anything, and Gothorgy just looks like, okay.
Yeah, I kind of saw that too, and I feel like Gothology did the same thing that I did and took like a double take. Like, that can't possibly be what I saw, right?
I was like, wait, are they healing there? I looked to the side again, like, no way, they're healing there. And then they were. I think he was shocked. He's like, that didn't just happen.
Yeah, no, I think all three of us had that same thought there. But so far, you know, I will say and give credit to Milkshake Mafia, and I think what we were seeing earlier before I got distracted with the fact that I hadn't changed scenes, was the fact that the reason why we saw some of those hits that we did was because of Milkshake Mafia playing safe around certain things, and really good dodge there, where I feel like they're worried about traps being certain places until they're not.
Oh, a really smart play and then just running right into the bush. I didn't ever something run over any type of greenery with Trapper. I tried to avoid it at all costs.
Yeah, that's pretty much the exact same thought process. If you can avoid plants and grass as too much of your ability, then you're in a good spot, all things considered. The moment that you don't...
beforehand, I don't do it. It's just, I don't do it.
Exactly. Unless I've kind of scoped out that area myself.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Another interesting mind game coming for Gothology. Sort of catches the Nancy out here. Gonna be a free hit.
It might be a free hit, but let's... Ooh, no! Oh, no! Not only was it not a free hit, but it was also a balanced landing play, so amazing job there by Nancy.
That should have been a free hit. I think he just swung too soon, and they dropped in time where the swing just went over their head.
Yeah, to be fair, if I see a survivor in that position, I'm assuming they have balanced lane, so I think trying to swing early rather than trying to catch them on the stun was the right move there.
100%. And coming back, just going to sort of try to trade. Nancy's going to gain as much distance as she can. The second gen finally coming down. This is going to be down either way. Oh,
I'm surprised. Yeah, first pallet drop. I'm surprised Gothology, knowing that his trap was there, just didn't push them into it, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would have done.
It's like, oh, okay, my trap's there. I'm just gonna run into this. You'll drop pallet. I'll see you get trapped. GG's.
Going all the way around like, ooh, I like that mind game. And Nancy was just bamboozled again. I'll say it again, bamboozled. What were you doing there, Trapper? It worked.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if it works, right?
It worked. Yeah, exactly. You don't need to question it. I mean, to be fair, he doesn't need to reposition this trap. Oh, you could just keep that. Okay.
Yeah, I was about to say, you could probably keep that. Nancy doesn't know, and you already have 3 traps in hand. You can't pick up a 4th there, Trapper boy.
Yeah, exactly. They would vault into that thinking they're safe for a second if they didn't communicate. Exactly. It depends, again, on the level of communication, because against a Trapper, you should be able to call out where they're setting up traps and where everything is.
Exactly.
And does not fall for that little corner. Going down.
Ooh, and a trap in the distance there. I think that was actually the trap that they broke the pallet at earlier.
Did that really work? I guess they just weren't thinking it to be there. I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, especially on maps like McMillan maps, the surroundings are dark enough to where you can't really see them all too well through the grass, unlike some other maps where they're a little bit more obvious.
100%. Honestly, I kind of like this map as Trapper because there's just, look how much grass there is. You could just have one random trap for fun out in the middle of nowhere and someone might run into it, you know?
Yeah, but it feels like every single time we get an update that Z just kind of takes their freaking grass clippers and makes the grass that much thinner, right?
I don't know what BHR is doing with that. They want to make it look more realistic and such, but then Trapper's just like, no, please stop.
Yeah, exactly.
I need that.
And I actually do love this play right here. I love putting traps in broken doors. A lot of people just think it's extra debris, and it works out so well every time.
No, I agree. That's one good trap right there. Going down, using balance again, going to the TNL wall. Right now, I'd be a little bit nervous. Does he have a trap right there? He does not.
Yeah, that's the fun part about TNL walls. You kind of have to look real quick and like, can I go for the vault? Am I sure I can? Ooh.
Yeah, that's exactly where you need to just have someone that's sort of be able to have eyes on Trapper. You can call out what he's doing. And again, same thing sort of with Haig. If you can kind of like disrupt Trapper and just kind of follow him around and break those, he loses all agency as a killer. He's just an M1 boy.
Yep, Mr. Machete Man.
Machete Man, bro. He's OP.
I mean, I feel the pain that is playing Trapper, because for my win streaks, it is literally... it is no add-ons on Trappers. I'm like, I'm just an M1 115 killer. I don't have a power. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Just use your good old trusty mind games that can dispel anybody.
Exactly.
Anyways, I mean, this is going really well for a Trapper, honestly. Like, this was the smart call to bring out Trapper Boy, even though I wanted to see another Billy, because I just liked a full chainsaw round, but alas, not meant to be.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, though, Gothaji playing well, has some decently smart trap placement. In my opinion, some of them a little bit more obvious than others, and I love this trap placement, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
A lot of survivors do not pay attention to that and will kind of just run... Okay, the 2's a bit excessive, I'll be real. The first one, okay, I can respect. I've done that myself. I've trapped a few survivors who don't pay attention at the hill. The second one, maybe a bit much.
He's just trying to get you rid of, that's his discordance, bro. That's his discordance. One steps in it, the other steps in it. He knows both are there.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Which, speaking of discordance, I want to actually make a quick aside. Did you see Outstar's video today?
I did with the zombies.
Yeah!
Going towards the discordance. That is, honestly, they better not change that.
No, 100%. Like, it makes sense in my mind
that.
when I think about it, because discordance technically makes a noise notification.
Exactly, a notification. Yeah.
Like,
I wonder if it does it for Tinkerer too. I want to know if it does it for Tinkerer.
Ooh. Okay. Now you piqued my interest on that too. Anything that creates a noise notification at a gen, would that
Yes,
work?
exactly.
Ooh.
I want to know if it does that, then I'm automatically just gonna bring Discordance, Tinkerer, and then like Corrupt Ruin or Corrupt Pop, like just anything to help with zombies, because those things can be so useless, or they can be perfect, or they'll camp hooks for you and they'll push people off gens. Like it's either or. They're never really consistent.
No, 100%. And so I really want to test that out more on like some larger maps and see how far away a zombie's going to go. Ooh, piece of candy.
Yeah, exactly. I like that analogy. Piece of candy, except like piece of brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, we got another trap.
Wait, what trap was that?
I
Oh, it's the door trap. That was the door trap right there.
Yeah. That debris, it got him. They don't get out in time. That's a 4K for Evan.
Man, that's painful too. That was a full 6 attempts on that trap.
Oh my goodness, that's unfortunate. And they got the 5 gens done at least. I mean, but again, Trapper S tier confirmed. No need for any.
Who needs nurse? We have Trapper.
Exactly. You don't need that. Trapper's more than enough. I know that we're bringing Trapper in one of our games next. It's just, it has to happen. It's just opened my eyes.
That being said, that there will... Ooh, is Gothaji thinking about it? I feel like Gothaji saw a hatch like, should I?
Yeah. He's like, will I have mercy?
Looks like they have to go for the 4K instead, and that there will be a full 4K for Gothaji on the Trapper, resulting in 20 points for Milkshake Mafia in 47. The final for that match, 66 points, Milkshake Mafia, 163 for Deadheads.
Damn. GG's all around. That was a fun last game to watch from a Trapper, honestly. It's just... oh, you don't see that every day.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to do a Trapper tournament one of these days between seasons.
100%.
But with that being said, guys, I do hope that you enjoyed the show, including that the DBD ASMR/podcast. We're going to be releasing that one every Wednesday from now on over on your podcast channel. But in all seriousness, thank you all for being here for our first round of Season 1 of COTF, or rather, our first half of the first round, as we do have the second half on Saturday for Saturday League, a full 10 teams. And how many matches do we have for Saturday? Let's take a look real quick. And yes, based on the schedule, we have 4 matches next Saturday, starting at 12 p.m. CST with Cerebral Assassins versus Object of Obsession.
Ooh.
So, actually, it's OD. Yeah, it's OD, not OOO. So apparently I put Object of Obsession like the perk name and completely forgot about that. I've put up that schedule for a while. No one's called me out on that one either.
I was about to say, I do not remember them being named Obsession.
No, they're not OOO. They're OOD 100%. But somehow no one has mentioned that to me. I'm like, wait a second, 100% on me. But with that being said, Object of Depression versus Cerebral Assassins at 12 p.m. CST. So if you did enjoy the show, please make sure to hit that follow button, and we'll be live again then. But Domo, I know you do stream. If everyone did want to go see ya live, how'd they go find you?
All for Domo on Twitch, just my name, All for Domo. I'm probably gonna be streaming either later tonight or tomorrow at some point. I was just streaming recently some DVD. I'm really excited to try out the Pinhead chapter when it comes out. Gonna be doing a bunch of tests and seeing how good he is. I'm really hope I'm not disappointed.
No, 100%, and I'm looking forward to it as well. And for those who do not know me, I am Mark, aka Guildspire. I am the commissioner for Champions of Fog, as well as an educational Dead by Daylight player over on my personal channel. That is GILTSPIRE. But with that being said, everyone, thank you all for being here, and we will see ya this coming Saturday. And thank you, Domo, once again for being here as well.
No worries, anytime. Have a good one, guys.
Everyone, bye-bye!
Bye.